In a world that celebrates loud ambition and dramatic success, there stands one man who has quietly rewritten what leadership and greatness truly mean. His name is Sundar Pichai, the soft-spoken engineer from Chennai who rose from a modest two-room apartment in India to the helm of Google and Alphabet, two of the most influential organizations on Earth. His story is not about fame, power, or luck. It is about curiosity, humility, perseverance, and the courage to dream quietly but persistently. When most of us think about successful leaders in technology, we picture the visionaries who disrupt industries through bold moves and fearless risks: Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. But Sundar Pichai represents a different kind of strength, one that doesn't roar, but resonates. One that leads not through force, but through wisdom and empathy. Born into a middle-class family in Chennai, India, Pichai grew up in a world without luxury. His home had no television, no refrigerator, and no telephone until he was 12 years old. And yet, it was that simplicity that shaped his greatest asset, an insatiable curiosity. As a boy, he was fascinated by how things worked. When the family finally got a rotary phone, he memorized every number he dialed, not out of necessity, but pure wonder. It was this quiet fascination that would one day connect him to the digital world that would define his destiny. Fast forward a few decades, and that same boy would become the man leading Google, the company that connects billions of people to information every single day. But why should we study Sundar Pichai's life? Because his journey is not just a tale of corporate success. It is a mirror reflecting what is possible when humility meets ambition, when intellect is guided by kindness, and when leadership is built on listening rather than commanding. Sundar Pichai is living proof that success does not have to be loud. In fact, sometimes the most powerful influence comes from those who stay calm in chaos, who think before they speak, and who lift others as they rise. He once said, "Wear your failure as a badge of honor." That quote alone captures the essence of his philosophy, that setbacks are not signs of weakness, but milestones on the path to mastery. Pichai's story is not about avoiding failure, but embracing it, learning from it, and moving forward with even more clarity. For millions of young people, especially from developing countries, Sundar Pichai's story carries a deeper message. Your background does not define your future. You can begin anywhere and still reach everywhere if you stay curious, keep learning, and never lose your integrity. In today's world, where people chase instant fame and overnight success, his calm, long-term approach feels like a breath of fresh air. He reminds us that slow growth is still growth, and that true leadership is not about commanding attention, but about building trust. Learning about Sundar Pichai is like studying a modern philosophy of success, one rooted not in dominance but in decency. He shows that leadership with empathy can be just as powerful, if not more, than leadership through authority. He proves that the smartest people are often the most humble, because they are always learning. He once told a group of students in India, "Follow your dreams and your heart. Do something that excites you." That simple line captures the spirit of his life, a journey driven by curiosity, purpose, and quiet confidence. When we study Sundar Pichai, we are not just learning how to achieve success. We are learning how to stay human while achieving it. We are reminded that greatness is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the calmest mind and the kindest heart. So yes, we should learn about Sundar Pichai, not because he runs Google, but because he represents what the future of leadership should look like: intelligent, kind, ethical, and deeply human. Every great story begins somewhere small, a place where dreams feel too big for their surroundings, and yet somehow those dreams find a way to grow. For Sundar Pichai, that place was Madurai, Tamil Nadu, India, where he was born on July 12, 1972, and raised in the bustling city of Chennai. His childhood was ordinary in every sense. No luxury, no privilege, no early exposure to computers or fancy schools. But beneath that simplicity was a world of learning, discipline, and curiosity that quietly shaped a global leader in the making. A home built on values. Not wealth. Sundar grew up in a small two-room apartment with his parents and younger brother. The home was humble, the family shared one living space, and the kitchen often doubled as a study area for the boys. His father, Raghunatha Pichai, was an electrical engineer at the British conglomerate GEC, while his mother, Lakshmi, worked as a stenographer before dedicating herself to raising her sons. Money was tight, but values were abundant. His father was a man of logic and quiet strength. He would often take young Sundar to his workplace, showing him machines and explaining how circuits and components worked. Those visits planted a seed, not just of engineering knowledge, but of curiosity and wonder. His mother, on the other hand, nurtured compassion and humility, reminding her sons that kindness and integrity mattered more than any material achievement. In interviews, Pichai has often reflected on how his parents' sacrifices defined him. When he got his scholarship to study in the United States, his father spent an entire year's salary on his plane ticket, a decision that represented not just love, but faith. That moment, he said later, made him realize how deeply his success was intertwined with the people who believed in him. The power of curiosity. Long before he ever touched a computer, Sundar Pichai was already showing signs of brilliance. When the family finally got a rotary telephone, the young boy became obsessed with it. He would dial numbers repeatedly, memorizing entire sequences after just a few tries. It was not just a trick of memory. It was an early demonstration of how his mind worked. He was fascinated by systems, by how things connected, by the patterns that made technology work. That fascination guided his academic path. Sundar attended Jawahar Vidyalaya, a CBSE school in Chennai, where he was known as a quiet but sharp student. Teachers recalled him as humble, disciplined, and genuinely interested in learning, not for grades, but for understanding. The journey to IIT and beyond after finishing high school, Sundar entered the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, IIT KGP, one of the most prestigious universities in India. He majored in metallurgical engineering, and it was here that his intellectual depth began to shine. His professors saw something special in him. They described him as a student who didn't just solve problems, but questioned why those problems existed in the first place. He had a habit of approaching every concept from first principles, the same mindset that would later define his product leadership at Google. One of his professors, recognizing his exceptional potential, wrote in a recommendation letter that Sundar was the best student I have ever taught. That letter helped him win a scholarship to Stanford University in the United States, a leap that would change the course of his life forever. The leap to America, leaving India for the first time, Sundar arrived in California with a suitcase full of dreams and a deep sense of gratitude. He was amazed by the vastness of the Stanford campus, the culture of innovation, and the way ideas flowed freely. But life was not easy. Coming from a modest background, he often felt out of place among students who came from far wealthier families. Yet, instead of being discouraged, he turned that discomfort into fuel. He worked harder, listened more, and absorbed everything around him. At Stanford, he earned his master's degree in material sciences and engineering, focusing on semiconductor physics, the foundation of modern computing. After graduation, he briefly worked at Applied Materials, before pursuing an MBA at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, where he earned two of the school's highest honors, the Siebel Scholar and the Palmer Scholar. The quiet foundation of a leader every step of his early journey, from the two-room apartment in Chennai to the classrooms of Wharton, taught Sundar Pichai something deeper than technology. He learned humility from scarcity, empathy from his parents, and resilience from every challenge. His path was not marked by shortcuts or sudden fame, but by consistency, discipline, and deep learning. Long before he became CEO, he was already living by a principle that would define his career. It's important to be patient, to think long-term, and to stay grounded no matter where life takes you. That grounding, that balance between intellect and humility, would become his greatest strength when he stepped into the world's most powerful tech company. If there's one thing that sets Sundar Pichai apart from most of today's high-profile CEOs, it is not just his intelligence, it is his grace under pressure. In a world full of leaders who dominate through aggression and charisma, Pichai leads with humility, patience, and quiet strength. His leadership philosophy isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about listening, learning, and lifting others up. His calm demeanor, his reflective way of speaking, and his ability to Chapter of Pichai's journey. Even after becoming CEO of Google and Alphabet, he speaks with the same gentleness he had as a young engineer. He never uses his title to dominate. He uses it to listen more deeply. When people describe him, they don't talk about his authority. They talk about his kindness, his ability to make others feel valued. He often reminds young professionals, it's important to stay grounded. No matter how high you go, always remember where you came from. In a world obsessed with power, his humility is revolutionary. It teaches us that true confidence doesn't need to shout. It whispers through quiet actions, consistency, and respect for others. Humility also keeps you open to learning. Pichai's greatest strength isn't knowing everything. It's being willing to learn from everyone. Be patient. Great things take time. In the age of instant gratification, Sundar Pichai is a living reminder that real success is slow-cooked. When he proposed Chrome, it took years of testing, convincing, and refining before it succeeded. When he took over Android, it took years of effort to unify a fragmented ecosystem. And when he became CEO, it took decades of quiet, steady growth to prepare him for that role. He once said, "You might fail a few times, but that's okay. You end up doing something worthwhile because of those failures." His career proves that patience isn't about waiting. It's about working consistently without losing faith. Every success he achieved was built brick by brick, through long-term thinking and quiet perseverance. For anyone chasing dreams, his message is clear. Don't rush your growth. Trust your process. Lead with empathy. Not ego empathy is not often talked about in the corporate world, but for Pichai, it's at the heart of effective leadership. He once said in an interview, "As a leader, it's important to understand that you don't need to know everything. You just need to make people feel safe to contribute their best." At Google, he built a culture where ideas flow freely, where junior engineers can challenge executives, and innovation is not limited by hierarchy. He believes the best ideas often come from collaboration, not competition. His leadership is not about commanding people, but about enabling them. Empathy allows him to see technology not just as code, but as a force for improving lives. That's why he focuses on accessibility, digital inclusion, and AI that serves humanity. His leadership teaches us that you don't have to be tough to be strong. You just have to care enough to listen. Never stop being curious. Curiosity has been Pichai's greatest superpower since childhood. From the moment he played with that rotary phone in Chennai, he has never stopped asking questions. Curiosity made him an engineer. It made him an innovator. And it continues to make him a lifelong learner. He believes curiosity is the engine of both personal and professional growth. You might fail when you try new things, but that's okay. Every attempt brings you closer to understanding. At Google, this mindset fuels the company's innovation. He encourages employees to experiment, even when success is uncertain, because progress is impossible without curiosity. For us, that means never letting comfort replace wonder. Read, explore, observe. Ask why. More often. As Pichai's journey shows, curiosity doesn't just change what you know, it changes who you become. Turn setbacks into stepping stones throughout his life. Sundar Pichai has faced doubt, rejection, and challenge. He wasn't born into privilege. He had to adapt to a foreign country, prove himself in a competitive environment, and face countless skeptics who dismissed his ideas. Yet, he never allowed rejection to break his spirit. Instead, he used it as fuel. His philosophy is simple. Wear your failure as a badge of honor. When Chrome was criticized, he stayed focused. When Android faced fragmentation issues, he worked patiently to unify it. When leadership challenges arose, he responded with integrity, not anger. He shows us that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not talent, but resilience. Every time life pushed him down, Sundar Pichai stood up stronger, not louder. Lead with vision, not fear. Pichai's leadership style contrasts sharply with the fear-based management that dominates many organizations. He doesn't motivate through pressure. He motivates through possibility. When he talks about the future, it's not about competition, it's about contribution. He sees technology as a way to solve real human problems, from education to environment to equality. He once said, "The next wave of technology will be the one that improves lives in a meaningful way." That forward-looking vision keeps him and his teams inspired. For anyone in leadership, it's a reminder that vision is not about control. It's about clarity. It's about painting a future that others want to build with you. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. One of Pichai's most consistent principles in design, leadership, and life is simplicity. Chrome's interface reflected that. His speeches reflect that. Even his management style is built around removing complexity and helping people focus on what matters. He believes that simplicity requires depth. It's the product of understanding, not ignorance. At Google, we try to solve complex problems in simple ways, he said once. That's how we create products that everyone can use. In a world overflowing with distractions, this lesson is invaluable. Whether you're designing software or building a life, clarity beats complexity. Simplify your goals. Focus your energy. Let go of what doesn't matter. Balance ambition with gratitude. Pichai's rise could easily have turned him into someone consumed by power or ego. But gratitude keeps him grounded. He never forgets his parents' sacrifices, his mentors, or the people who believed in him when he was nobody. He often talks about how success is never truly individual. It's collective. So much of what you achieve in life depends on others, he says. Be thankful for the journey and the people who walk it with you. Ambition without gratitude becomes greed, but gratitude transforms ambition into purpose. Redefine success. Perhaps the most powerful lesson from Sundar Pichai's life is his definition of success. For him, success isn't about status, fame, or wealth, it's about impact. It's about what you give back, not what you gain. He once said, "It's not about the money or the title. It's about doing something that makes a difference in people's lives." That mindset changes everything. When your motivation shifts from external validation to internal fulfillment, you stop competing and start creating. For Pichai, technology is meaningful only when it improves someone's life, when it helps a student learn, a business grow, or a person connect with the world. Success, then, is not about being at the top. It's about making the top accessible to others. The heart of his wisdom. When we piece these lessons together, they form a simple but powerful philosophy. Be humble enough to learn. Be patient enough to build. Be kind enough to lead. Be brave enough to dream. This is the essence of Sundar Pichai's wisdom. That greatness is not measured by noise but by impact. That true leaders don't chase attention. They earn respect through consistency, compassion, and courage. Sundar Pichai's life is not just a story to admire. It's a blueprint to live by. The lessons he embodies are not reserved for CEOs or engineers. They are universal human principles, the kind that can help anyone, anywhere, build a more meaningful and successful life. He teaches us that greatness doesn't require privilege. It requires clarity, discipline, and the courage to stay true to your values even when no one is watching. So how can we take his mindset, his quiet strength, curiosity, and empathy, and apply it to our own journey? Let's explore how you can live like Sundar Pichai, one choice, one habit, one day at a time. Practice humility, the foundation of true growth. Humility is not about lowering yourself. It's about staying open. Pichai's humility allows him to learn from others, listen deeply, and build strong relationships, qualities that make him not only a better leader, but a better human being. How to apply this? Listen more than you speak. When someone shares an idea, resist the urge to interrupt. Listen to understand, not to reply. Ask for feedback. Regularly invite others to point out your blind spots. It's uncomfortable, but it's how growth happens. Acknowledge others' contributions. Whether at work or home, celebrate the people who support you. Gratitude amplifies humility. Mindset shift. You don't have to prove you're the smartest person in the room. You just need to be the most curious one. Be patient. Value the process, not just the results. Pichai's story proves that patience is not weakness. It's wisdom. He didn't rush to success. He built it step by step, brick by brick. In an age where we want everything instantly, promotion, recognition, success, patience feels like an outdated virtue. But patience is what allows dreams to mature into reality. How to apply this? Set long-term goals but enjoy short-term wins. Break your big vision into smaller steps. Celebrate progress even if it's small. Embrace delays and detours. When things don't go as planned, remind yourself that growth often happens in the waiting. Keep a progress journal. Every week, write down what you learned, not just what you achieved. Mindset shift. Patience doesn't mean standing still. It means moving steadily in the right direction, even when the world moves faster. Lead with empathy. Whether you manage one person or 1,000 Sundar, Pichai's greatest strength as a leader is empathy. He makes people feel safe, valued, and understood. In your own life, whether you're leading a team, a family, or just yourself, empathy is the key to connection. How to apply this? Pause before reacting. When you're upset, take a breath. Respond with curiosity instead of judgment. Try to see the world through others' eyes. Ask, what might this person be feeling? Build bridges, not walls. Even when you disagree, find common ground. Daily practice. Spend 5 minutes each day in reflection. Replay a conversation you had and ask, did I listen enough? Did I understand before I spoke? This small habit will change how people respond to you and how you feel about yourself. Stay curious, the lifelong habit. That fuels innovation. Curiosity is the spark that started Sundar Pichai's journey, from that rotary phone in Chennai to the AI labs of Google. He never stopped asking why and how, and that curiosity keeps him ahead of the curve even today. How to apply this? Learn one new thing every day. It could be a TED Talk, a new word, a skill, or a random Wikipedia page. Curiosity compounds like interest. Ask better questions. Instead of asking, can I do this? Ask, what can I learn from this? Surround yourself with learners. Spend time with people who challenge your thinking. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. Mindset shift. The goal is not to know everything, it's to never stop learning. Redefine failure. Turn every setback into a step forward. Sundar Pichai doesn't see failure as shameful. He sees it as a teacher. He encourages people to take risks, experiment, and learn from what doesn't work. How to apply this? Keep a failure journal. Each time you fail, write 3 things you learned from it. It transforms regret into growth. Detach your identity from your mistakes. You are not your results, you are your resilience. Celebrate effort, not just outcome. If you tried courageously, that's success in itself. Mindset shift. Failures don't end your story. They edit it, making the final version stronger. Simplify your life. Focus on what truly matters. One of the reasons Pichai's leadership feels so effortless is his commitment to simplicity. He simplifies problems, goals, and even his daily routine, allowing him to focus on clarity over clutter. How to apply this? Declutter your space and mind. Start your day by cleaning one corner of your desk or one folder on your computer. Prioritize ruthlessly. Ask yourself, if I could only do one thing today that truly matters, what would it be? Say no to distractions. Protect your attention. It's your most valuable resource. Mindset shift. Simplicity is not doing less. It's doing more of what matters most. Balance ambition with gratitude. Sundar Pichai's ambition took him from Chennai to Silicon Valley, but his gratitude kept him grounded. He never forgot the sacrifices of his parents or the mentors who guided him. Gratitude gave him strength in tough times and humility in success. How to apply this? Start a gratitude ritual. Every night, list 3 things you're thankful for, even small things. Express appreciation publicly. Thank colleagues, friends, or family for their support. Gratitude creates trust and loyalty. Practice contentment. Learn to find joy not only in achievement, but in progress. Mindset shift. The happiest people are not those who have more, but those who appreciate more. Lead with vision. Start with why. Every major move Sundar Pichai made, from Chrome to Android to AI, started with a clear why. He wasn't chasing trends. He was pursuing purpose. That's what made his leadership powerful and sustainable. How to apply this? Define your personal mission. Ask yourself, why do I do what I do? Write it down. Revisit it often. Make decisions aligned with your purpose. If something doesn't serve your vision or values, let it go. Inspire through example. Lead by how you live, not what you say. Mindset shift. Vision is not about predicting the future, it's about creating it, one action at a time. Build a daily practice of growth. Your Pichai routine. To embody his mindset, you can start with a simple daily framework inspired by his principles. Morning. 5 minutes of reflection. Ask yourself, what excites me today? By 20 minutes of learning. Read or watch something that expands your mind. During the day, act with empathy. Listen deeply in one conversation. Simplify something. Remove one unnecessary task or distraction. Evening. Write one lesson learned. It can be about patience, communication, or gratitude. Or express thanks. Send a short message or simply whisper thank you for the day's moments. These micro habits might seem small, but done daily, they transform your mindset, the same way Sundar Pichai transformed his. 10. Think long-term. Play the infinite game. Perhaps the most defining quality of Sundar Pichai is his long-term vision. He doesn't chase quarterly wins. He builds for generations. In your own life, that means thinking beyond immediate gratification, focusing on legacy, contribution, and mastery. How to apply this? Invest in skills, not just outcomes. Learn things that will still matter 10 years from now. Stay adaptable. Don't fear change, embrace it. Ask, what value will this bring to others? That question turns ambition into impact. Mindset shift. Life isn't a sprint to be won. It's an infinite journey to be lived with meaning. The ripple effect applying these lessons doesn't just transform your career, it transforms your character. When you lead with empathy, practice patience, and stay curious, you don't just succeed, you inspire. And that's the legacy Sundar Pichai represents. Not dominance, but influence through kindness and clarity. He shows us that you can reach the top of the world without losing your humanity, and that true greatness is not about being powerful, but about empowering others. When we look back at the story of Sundar Pichai, it's easy to see success. The CEO of Google and Alphabet, the global visionary leading one of the most powerful companies on the planet. But beneath all those achievements lies something even greater: a quiet strength, a gentle heart, and a relentless belief that curiosity and kindness can change the world. Sundar Pichai didn't set out to be famous. He set out to be useful. He didn't chase power, he built trust. He didn't rise by shouting louder, he rose by listening deeper, and that, perhaps, is the most profound truth of all. Real greatness doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. The humble flame that lit the digital world, from the narrow streets of Chennai to the boardrooms of Silicon Valley. Pichai's journey is not one of miracles, but of moments, small, consistent acts of courage and character. He was not born into privilege. He didn't have access to the world's best technology as a child. Yet he had something rarer: a mind hungry to learn and a heart willing to grow. His story is proof that you don't need to start with everything to become something. You just need one spark, one reason to keep going, and the patience to keep feeding that spark until it becomes a flame. He once said, "It's important to be patient and stay true to your journey. Good things take time." Every challenge he faced, from cultural adaptation to corporate pressure, refined his strength rather than breaking it. He learned that adversity doesn't define you, it refines you. In a time when many measure success by titles or fame, Sundar Pichai's life reminds us that success is service to people, to progress, to purpose. The kind of leader the world needs leadership today often comes wrapped in bold statements and fierce competition. But Pichai's leadership is different. It's gentle, steady, and deeply human. He leads with empathy, not ego. He inspires through vision, not fear. He builds technology not to control people, but to empower them. That is the kind of leadership the world needs. Leadership with compassion at its core, where power is not used to dominate, but to elevate others. He shows that you can lead a multi-billion-dollar company and still stay kind. You can innovate and still stay humble. You can reach the top and still remember what it felt like to start at the bottom. And that lesson isn't just for CEOs, it's for all of us. Because each of us, in our own way, leads, whether it's a team, a family, or even just our own dreams. Your story begins where you stand if you take only one message from Sundar Pichai's life. Let it be this: you don't need the perfect beginning to create an extraordinary ending. Your background doesn't define your ceiling, your mindset does. Your struggles aren't there to stop you, they're there to strengthen you. And your quiet moments of doubt? They're just the space before your next chapter begins. Like Pichai, you may face times when no one believes in your vision. You may fail, stumble, or feel invisible. But remember, every giant tree begins as a small seed hidden underground. Growth doesn't always look like progress, but it's happening. Always. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people like you. People who believe, who build, who listen, who care. That's how change really happens. One patient, curious, courageous person at a time. Awaken the greatness within you. Sundar Pichai's life is a mirror, reflecting what's possible when you align kindness with curiosity, purpose with persistence, and success with service. He proves that you don't have to shout to lead or rush to win. You just have to keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in what you do. So, as you close this story, remember, greatness is not a destination. It's a journey, one you begin every time you choose to rise again, to stay curious, to be kind, and to keep moving forward, even quietly. And if this story has lit something inside you, a spark to grow, to evolve, to become your best, don't let it fade. Nurture it. Protect it. Live by it. Because the world doesn't just need more successful people. It needs more Sundar Pichais. Thoughtful, humble, visionary souls who make the future brighter for everyone. Keep walking your path of growth. Keep awakening your potential. If you're ready to continue learning from stories like this, stories that ignite your purpose, shape your mindset, and remind you that greatness lives within you, subscribe to Awaken Greatness. It's more than just a channel. It's a daily reminder that the light you're looking for has always been inside you. Let's grow together, one inspired day at a time.